So, you're running for your life, sprinting as fast as you can, and you hear it, the eerie laughter echoing behind you. It's Turbo Granny, and she's coming for you. Whether you're cursed, chased, or just plain terrified, one thing's certain, there's no outrunning this twisted granny with a need for speed and a taste for chaos. But who is she? My name is Nathan, and together with Sam, we are the side characters. Today, we're diving deep into everything you need to know about Turbo Granny, her origins in Dandadan, her real-life urban legend roots, and why she's become one of the most hilariously horrifying characters in anime. Turbo Granny, or Turbo Obasan if we're getting fancy, is one of the first supernatural threats introduced in Dandadan. She's a spirit that curses our protagonist Okudan early in the story, turning his already weird life into something straight out of a nightmare. And by nightmare, I mean when you have one of those dreams where you're constantly running, but you aren't running, but it feels like you're running. Freaky stuff. In her yokai form, Turbo Granny is downright terrifying. A twisted, leering hag with a wild grin and glowing eyes that scream, "You messed with the wrong granny." But what makes her stand out is her personality. She's rude, she's crude, and she's got that kind of chaotic energy that makes her equal parts horrifying and hilarious. Imagine your worst nightmare, but it's roasting you with insults while chasing you for your crown jewels. Her curse on Okudan is a game changer. It not only forces him into the world of the supernatural, but also gives him a taste of her insane speed and power. This twist makes her less of a one-off villain and more of a recurring influence in the story. Plus, her antics set the tone for Dandadan's signature blend of high-energy humor and supernatural horror. A perfect villain almost. The real-life legend of Turbo Granny. Turbo Granny isn't just some random spirit. Her character pulls from Japanese urban legends, but Dandadan brings a new, surprisingly complex side to her story. In folklore, she's a ghostly figure who haunts highways, zooming past cars at night and unsettling anyone who crosses her path. While this legend may serve as a caution against reckless driving, Dandadan reimagines her as a spirit with a darker, more tragic role rooted in her territory's painful past. In episode 5 of the anime, Momo reveals something important. Turbo Granny's aggressive behavior and curses aren't without reason. It's suggested that her territory holds a tragic history involving mistreated young girls, and her fierce protection may come from a deep-seated need to guard against any potential harm. She targets men who wander into her space, ruthlessly cursing and humiliating them, almost as if she's trying to keep any possible threat far from the area she haunts. Her methods are harsh and unforgiving, yet they hint at a more complicated motive than mere cruelty. When she's exorcised in episode 4, we even see the spirits of girls emerge in a cloud, adding further weight to her backstory and a connection to these past tragedies. It's a haunting reminder that her actions might be bound to an unspoken vow to protect girls, even if it means eternally lashing out at any innocent boy who steps into her domain. She's really pulling a domain expansion, yoinking the balls. This misunderstood nature adds a whole new layer to her character. Turbo Granny might be foul-mouthed, sadistic, and relentless, but her actions suggest a spirit acting out of something deeper than malice. And in the very first episode, when she jumps through the phone to save Momo, we get a glimpse of how her drive to protect can emerge, though it's filtered through her chaotic personality. By weaving in these hints and backstory, Dandadan transforms her from a simple legend into a layered figure, a spirit with motives bound to a painful, unresolved past that keeps her in this cycle of vengeance and twisted guardianship. Other appearances of Turbo Granny in anime. But here's the thing, Turbo Granny isn't exclusive to Dandadan. The speedy granny trope shows up in other anime, each with their own unique spin. Take Mob Psycho 100, where we meet Dash Granny. While Dash Granny isn't as terrifying as Turbo Granny, she's got that same unstoppable, elderly energy popping up out of nowhere and leaving the young characters in the dust. It's hilarious, showing how the legend of Turbo Granny can morph into something so lighthearted. Then there's Yubaba in Spirited Away. She may not be a racer, but she embodies that uncanny elder presence, commanding both fear and respect with her mystical aura. She's not chasing you down with her speed, but her imposing nature and magical powers remind us of that same feeling of dread and awe. Yubaba captures the darker side of the elder figure, echoing the way Turbo Granny keeps us on edge in Dandadan. Turbo Granny references in pop culture. Her scary influence extends beyond anime, seeping into other areas of pop culture. Her roots as an urban legend have inspired everything from creepy folklore in horror films to high-speed chases in video games. The concept of a ghostly granny who defies logic and speed limits is just too good to ignore. In video games like Shin Megami Tensei, you can encounter characters reminiscent of Turbo Granny, blending the eerie and the absurd in ways that feel straight out of her playbook. Even in meme subculture, the idea of an unhinged, fast-moving granny has found a home. TikTok videos, parody comedies, and online jokes about granny speed demons owe more than a little to the legend of Turbo Granny. By taking a well-known urban legend and amplifying it through the absurd lens of Dandadan, Turbo Granny has become a cultural icon in her own right. Whether she's terrifying anime fans, inspiring memes, or popping up in folklore-inspired media, her legacy continues to haunt and entertain fans around the world. Turbo Granny isn't just a character, she's a phenomenon. In Dandadan, she's the perfect blend of absurdity and terror, setting the tone for a series that thrives on pushing boundaries. Her roots in Japanese urban legend make her more than just a figment of imagination. She's a reflection of the stories that have haunted and entertained people for generations. Whether she's cursing Okuran, chasing down her victims, or delivering the roast of the century, Turbo Granny is unforgettable. She's a reminder that even the creepiest characters can have you laughing out loud, right before they scare the pants off you. And that's our deep dive into Turbo Granny from Dandadan. What do you think of this chaotic speed demon? Did we miss any of your favorite Turbo Granny moments? Let us know in the comments below. Also, tell us which legendary character, trope, or urban legend you want us to cover in our next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more anime deep dives. See you next time.